Good morning and happy Purim to everyone. The kids are going to have a fantastic morning getting ready for the holiday of Purim. And tomorrow night's our big Purim celebration. And as you can see, the theme of the holiday of Purim is masquerading. Why is Purim all about masquerading? Because the story of Purim, which is the scroll of Esther, is the only book in the entire Torah that the name of God is not mentioned even once. And this is not by chance. This is actually deliberate. The reason is because there are two types of miracles. There are those miracles that God has revealed, like the splitting of the sea, the 10 plagues, the holiday of Passover. Or, for example, the holiday of Hanukkah, where the little cruse of oil burned for 8 days miraculously. And everyone could see that it was the hand of God. But then there's the story of Purim, which can be read as a series of coincidences. There happened to be a Jewish queen, and Mordechai happened to overhear the plot of two ministers to kill the king, and one event after another which led to the good fortune of the Jews that they were saved. But no, we Jews see the hand of God in the story, and we make a big holiday called Purim to thank God for the miracle. Even though his name is not in the story, we know that God was orchestrating all of the events. And that's why the holiday of Purim is all about masquerading. Because what we're saying is, sometimes in our lives God is hidden. But just like when someone is masquerading, you figure out who it is. You say, I could see you, I know who you really are. So too, we see God even in the hidden moments of life. We see the hand of God, and we celebrate the hand of God. And that's why the holiday of Purim is the most joyous holiday of all, because we discover God even in the darkest times. It's a story that there was this man in Israel, his name is Rabbi Reuven, and he has an organization called Chazdei Lev. And what they do is they set up homes with apartments near hospitals in Israel, so that people who unfortunately have to visit their loved ones will have a place to stay, especially over Shabbat and holidays. And one Friday afternoon he gets a call, and a young girl calls him and says, my sister's in the hospital, I need a place to spend Shabbos near Sheba Hospital. And Rabbi Reuven said, I'm sorry, but all of the apartments are all given out for Shabbat. And the girl starts to cry and says, please help me. My sister's going through some very difficult treatments, and she cannot spend Shabbat alone. And Rabbi Reuven said, let me see what I can do. Now, normally the policy of the organization is that it's one room per family. They don't ask two families to share a room. But because this girl's plight touched his heart, he said to her, let me see what I can do. And he called a woman who was there visiting her elderly parents. Her father was in the hospital, and said, I usually don't do this, but maybe it would be okay if this girl stays with you, because she needs to be for Shabbat and near the hospital to be there with her sister. And the woman said, I'll be happy to have her stay in my room. And so he arranged for her to stay with this woman. A number of months later, this Rabbi Reuven gets an invitation to a wedding in the mail. He looks at the names and he doesn't recognize the names. So he calls the family that he got the invitation from, and he said, why did you invite me to the wedding? And the woman says, well, don't you remember me? You gave me a place to stay for Shabbat near that Sheba Hospital one Shabbat when I was there visiting my father. And you remember you called me about if a girl could stay in my room with me who had to visit her sister. So I want you to know what happened. This girl spent Shabbat with me, and I got to know her, and I realized what a fine, good girl she is, with such good personality traits. And I realized that she would be perfect for my son. So after that Shabbat, I introduced her to my son, and they got engaged, and they're getting married, and that's why I invited you to the wedding, because you were the matchmaker. And then the woman says to Rabbi Reuven, I have to tell you something funny. After Shabbat, she gave me a thank you card to thank me for having her for Shabbat in my room. When she signed her name, she signed off by saying, may we only meet on future happy occasions. Little did she know, and little did I know, that that happy occasion would be her wedding to my son. Sometimes things happen in life that seem random, But as Jews, we have faith, and we recognize the hand of God. It's not by chance that this girl ended up in the room of this woman. It was Hashem bringing her together with her future husband. When we could celebrate and recognize God's hand and His gifts to us every moment and every day of our lives, that leads to the most joyous of all holidays. So join us tomorrow night here in this parking lot as they're setting up the big tent for the big circus celebration that we're going to have here at Palm Beach Synagogue. And wherever you are, if you're not here, make sure you go to shul and hear the Megillah and celebrate the most joyous holiday on the Jewish calendar. Have a wonderful day.